Hello everybody. This is going to be hopefully a short-ish video. Only got 2 packages. Um, but there's some stories, so it may take a little bit. Now when I did the previous Temu haul, I said I thought there was a blanket. I think this is the blanket. It got shipped separate. It's soft like a blanket anyway, so hopefully, because I did look up and there was supposed to be a blanket. Yeah. It's the first time I had one come in a blue mailer. I thought I ordered a bigger one, but when I read the metric sizes, I get confused. Let's see, it goes this way. It's bats and roses, because of course I got one with bats on it. And some pretty red roses. It's a little bigger than a standard throw. There you can see a bat and a rose. But it's not like a full size. This one, I started telling a story the last haul, and I don't know if I ever finished it. I know I mentioned it a couple times. So I will start over. This came from Amazon. But that's not where the story starts. The story starts with I placed an order at Walmart for a set of Joy-Cons for my Switch. And what happened was they got shipped, and they were shipped through FedEx. Now, normally that's okay. I've gotten stuff from FedEx before without any trouble. But this time I got a notification that my item was delivered, and there was a picture. Well, I'm looking out and I don't see it anywhere. And I thought, I wonder if they dropped it off at the post office, because sometimes FedEx does a thing with the post office where they deliver it that far and then the post office takes over. So I was like, well, maybe it's there. But then I looked at the picture, and it was of a brick entryway and a glass door. I don't live in a brick house. I don't have a glass door. Clearly not my house. So I contact Walmart, and I am doing the chat thing because that was the only way to get a hold of anybody at the time. And it's an AI thing. So I gave it certain answers. Did this solve the problem? No. And then they gave me a person. And the person says, let me read through your AI stuff and we'll see if we can figure something out. And then she comes back and says, well, sometimes things get marked delivered and it can take up to an additional 2 days for it to actually arrive. That doesn't make any sense. How can you mark it delivered? Because you scan it to deliver it. How can you mark it delivered and then not leave it for 2 days? That doesn't make sense to me. But that was her answer. And I've gotten that answer before when I couldn't find something that said it was delivered and it came the next day. So I was like, okay, whatever. But that's not the problem. The problem is the picture shows it was delivered somewhere, but not my house. I do not live in a brick house. That picture is not my house. And then she was like, oh, well, let me see what I can do. And it ended up they refunded my money. And it's supposed to take up to 10 days for that money to hit my account. It was there the next day. So props to Walmart for their refund. They were really fast about it. So then I thought, well, let's just go in the store and see if I can get a set. Well, they had plenty of them in the store, but they were $20 more expensive than the set that I ordered for the exact same thing. Same color, name brand Nintendo ones. And I was like, no, I'm not paying you an extra $20 because FedEx screwed up. So I was kind of hoping maybe whoever they got delivered to would be honest and drop them off at my house, but I haven't seen any show up. So I ended up ordering yesterday a set from Amazon, but I I'm kind of nervous about it. I opted to try a second off market brand, um, secondary market brand. So they're not actual Nintendo ones. So I hope this that they're going to work. So now we're on to part 3 of the story. Do they actually work with my Switch? Can I get them to pair? So if you were just here to see what packages were, well, they're done. Now we're going to see if these work. And I can tell you another story about yesterday. Yesterday was not a good day. Yesterday was Neko's birthday. He turned 25. So that was all right. That part went as planned. I went to work and work was all right for the day. I mean, my client wanted to get Mexican food for lunch, so we went to a Mexican restaurant that I haven't been to in 15 and a half years because it's the last place that my mom and I, well, yeah, the last restaurant that my mom ate at ever. Um, because the night we went there, she came home and died. So I kind of connect that in my head, even though I know that's not what killed her. But being that that's the last thing that we did together, it's kind of stuck in my head. Now, how do I get these out? I forget. Do they just slide? Is there a button? Yeah, there's a button. You could tell I change these out a lot, right? I don't even know how to take them off. All right. So these are like an aqua blue and a mint green. Really pretty. Let's see if we can get them to pair. It says paired. All right. Except that I'm pressing the A and it's not doing anything. There we go. It looks like it's letting me do stuff. I think they work. I read all the reviews, and most of them were like, yeah, they work fine. One person was like, I could only get one of them to pair, and another person was like, I never could get them to pair. But these, as soon as I popped them on, it said paired, so, and it's letting me get into a game. So, all right, these seem to be doing what I need them to do. But anyway, as I was saying, when I left work last night, I fell. And I fell hard. I'm actually surprised I didn't break something. I hit hard. And I mean, let's face it, I'm not a small person. So, the fact that I didn't break anything is pretty amazing. Anyway, I went out and I knew that the parking area was basically a sheet of ice. It's never truly been plowed. It hasn't been salted. They didn't even have salt until yesterday, shortly before I had to leave. So here it is, 8 o'clock at night, and I'm going out to my car, and my client's being silly and flipping the lights on and off and what have you. And I'm standing, and then next thing I know, I'm flat on my back. I think I bruised my tailbone because my butt hurts really bad. It feels bruised. My back is sore. I mean, it was a hard hit. Luckily, I didn't knock myself out or anything. So one of the other staff comes out to see, why he yelled, and she's like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "I don't know yet." I'm still laying there flat on my back, trying to decide if I can move or not. I'm like, am I able to move various body parts? Is it going to be okay to sit up? So I got up, and she helped me. She grabbed my bag, and I was like holding on to the car and got over, and got the door open and she handed me my things and I put them in and I got in and was able to go home. So I'm thankful that she was there to try to help me. Um, but man, that was kind of scary. Get home. And I didn't even get out of my car before I knew it was bad news. Really bad news. It could have been worse. Um, Nothing happened to Neko or anything. But I saw the the path from the house to the car was completely underwater. And I knew what that meant. I knew exactly what that meant because I was afraid it was going to happen. My laundry room was flooded. I thought it was a broken pipe. And I thought, oh no, I ended up having to call the plumber and everything, but um, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But it was bad enough. Last night, I was just having a hell of a night. And I got in there and I could hear the water just pouring, pouring. It was like somebody turned on a faucet and just let it run. It was just pouring and pouring. And I looked in the laundry room. There was at least 1.5 to 2 inches of water on the ground. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? Um, so I called the plumber and said, I think I have a broken pipe. There's water everywhere. My laundry room is flooded. There's like a good 1.5 to 2 inches of water on the floor. Yeah. And so it's about 9 o'clock at this point because I stopped and picked up pizzas on the way home. So I thought, well, since we couldn't go out for his birthday dinner, at least we could have pizza. And then we could either go out today or Sunday. I think we're going Sunday because today has been a day. Not a bad day, but a day. um, and it all stems from last night. So we pull out, I had some laundry in totes that I had washed because I had found a couple totes worth of dirty clothes. We had run them through and they were separated into different totes at this point. So we got all those out. Luckily, nothing inside was wet because the bottoms were sealed. Got those out. The laundry basket, on the other hand, the bottom layer was soaking wet because laundry baskets have the holes in them. So that stuff's going to have to be washed. And there was a box that by that point had already started soaking up water, and I knew whatever was inside it's going to be soaking wet. So we got all that out, and I had two like really big totes across the back wall. I didn't want to move them for one thing because where the old dryer vent was, it's a hole to the outside. I don't have anything to cap it off, and I forgot to ask my brother if he knew what to do. So those totes are up against it. One, to keep animals out, and two, to try to keep weather and debris and what have you out and do as much as possible to try to protect it from like wind and things making that room any colder than it already is because it's not heated. Anyway, I was able to then like lean up on those and I could see it wasn't a broken pipe. It is where the pipe had frozen and the ice pushed the hose to the washing machine off. And that's why there was all this water coming out. So we managed to get that turned so that the water wasn't gushing out. Amazingly, that room, the water disappeared pretty quickly. I didn't have standing water for very long, which is a blessing in a way. I grabbed all but 2 towels and had them all laying down. I had to have 2 available for showers today. Otherwise, they would have been on the floor too. So today, the plumber came and they reattached it and checked and made sure nothing else was leaking. And cost me $95, but I think it was well worth it because I have peace of mind now. And we now have a small heater in there. Um, Part of the problem was I couldn't reach the outlet. Well, while they had the washing machine pulled out, we got that plugged in and we got the washer back in place. And so there's that. But since 9:30, between 9:30 and 10 o'clock this morning, I have had the same load of laundry in the washing machine. It is now 4:20. So that's what, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 6.5 hours. Probably is 6.5 hours at this point of the same load. Um, and I think it's because it was all the towels and they had been so saturated. And I put them in and I ran a wash, and where it automatically goes into dry, it didn't do, it did a dry cycle, but it didn't do enough to actually get the towels dry. So I turned it back on and it said 45 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay, And I went back out about an hour later. Still, everything was damp. And I was like, okay, it's got to be because it's towels. So I turned it back on and I hit towels, dry only, and it's 2.5 hours. So now I've got to wait another 2 hours to see if that stuff gets dry. I hope so. Otherwise, I'm going to have to just pull some out and dry like half a load and then take those out and dry the other half. Because this is just insanity that it has been going for 6 hours, almost 6.5 hours, and stuff's not dry. But those towels are really heavy because they're the big bath sheets. And they're really, really heavy when they're sopping wet. Anyway, that's where we're at now. As I told Neko we couldn't go anywhere until I could at least switch out the first load for the second load. Because I want to get the wet stuff in. So I think we're probably going to maybe order Subway later. I don't know. I think he went upstairs and took a nap, and I haven't heard from him since then. So, since about 10 o'clock this morning. So I hope he wanders back down and we can make a decision about what we're doing. Because he was asking if we were going to go anywhere today. And I was like, I don't think so. Or at least not right away. So here we are. Stories. And I'm happy that the Joy-Cons appear to be working. Animal Crossing. Oh, there's Lionel. Yay. Lionel's my favorite. That's really all I've got at the moment. I started reading another book. It's called Killjoy. If you're familiar with the series A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, this is kind of a prequel novella. It doesn't tell you on here that it's a prequel. In fact, this confused me because it's talking about it being her last case, but it's set before the first book, where she hasn't even chosen her capstone project, and the first book was all about her capstone project. So, and I can't find it as an audiobook anywhere at the moment. So I am, what does that say? 56 pages in. And so far it's pretty decent. It's set at, she went with her friends to do a 1920s era murder mystery party. And so far they're acting out their roles and things. I don't know if there's going to be an actual murder or not. I haven't gotten that far yet. So far it's just the pretend one that's part of the mystery party. So I guess I'll find out. I'm going to try to get a little bit more read here in a little bit and hopefully either finish it today or tomorrow. Anyway, that's really all I've got. If you live in Meigs County, Ohio, Mark's Plumbing. Highly recommend. Oh, this one finally came in at the library. It's called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas in Ohio." I was disappointed. It's very much just The Night Before Christmas, or A Visit from St. Nicholas, if you want to have the technical title. I shouldn't be waving this around in front of y'all. Trying to get stuff put away. it's pretty much that, but it mentions different towns in Ohio and that Ohio is Santa's favorite place to visit. And it kind of just wedges in random mentions of Ohio in places that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So it's like you're going along with the regular story, and then it'll say something about a place in Ohio, and then it'll go back to where it was. And I was like, well, that segue didn't make any sense. But the illustrations are cute. I like the illustrations. Um, Let me see if I can find one of those weird segues. Here. Um, so here is where his eyes how they twinkled, his dimples how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry, his droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. He glanced at the names that he held in his fist, children in Toledo and Parma, whom were next on his list. That just kind of added those lines, and then he had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. So he just randomly stuck 4 lines in there that kind of were like jarring in a way. So then it's like the regular story for a couple pages, and then they shove in Merry Christmas, Ohio into All a Good Night, and heading back home to his cozy workshop at the North Pole. Santa hopes each child is extra good next year because he can't wait to come back to Ohio. It's like, okay, let's just wedge the word Ohio in random places. But it does mention like Dayton and Athens and Akron and Cleveland and, different towns and cities, mostly bigger cities. Athens isn't that big, but it's our area, it is. It's the big town. Um, People are going to know Athens because that's where Ohio University is. Go Bobcats. Anyway. Oh, it's Neko! Everybody say happy birthday to the Neko. He made it to 25 and a day.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on that first load of laundry to finish. It's not drying. It's hot. It's tumbling. It's just not drying. And I think it's because it's towels. And
Yeah.
so we're trying another round of dry the towels. Anyway, that's all I've got for right now. Um, I mean, it's 2 small packages, so if you stayed around this long, it's because you wanted stories. And you got a couple stories. Not great stories, but stories. And I don't know what's next. We got a couple not snack crates, Boxu and Soul boxes to work on. Maybe we can do one of those tonight. Um, I don't know. With the pain in my back, and I think my butt's probably a big bruise at this point. It feels like a bruise. I'm not really wanting to go anywhere. So, but next week, I am off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Don't know how I got 3 days in a row off. That hardly ever happens. So we can do something then if we don't make it out Sunday. So I work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or no, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday. Then I'm off Sunday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Anyway, now y'all know when I work. um, why does that say it's 2 degrees? That's not 2 degrees. It's not really 2 degrees. It's 40 something out there. It's like 42. This says it's 2 degrees and mostly clear.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. Not as cold today as it has been. But
Yeah.
from what I understand, we're gonna be 2 degrees will be like the high one of the days next week. So
Yeah.
yeah, Mother Nature must really be ticked off.
Yeah.
So it usually doesn't get this bad here. I mean, yeah, it's Ohio. We get snow and ice, but we don't generally get, 10 to 12 inches of snow in one dump, and then the polar vortex and all that garbage.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I've got. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.